Hello, hello, testing. I think there's an issue in my Ethernet connection that it's not letting me. Yeah, the speed is very low. Okay, we're gonna try to continue with the stream and see how the connection is. Alright, welcome everybody. Today is August 19th. We'll be working on New York session, pre-New York, looking at gold, GJ, and doing some analysis, trying to see if we can possibly get some trades. Let's start out with gold, and let's start out with some fresh analysis. Yesterday's yesterday's daily candle we closed bearish. Excuse me. 4 hour we're making highs. 1 hour we formed a resistance. Let's see, 15-minute. Yeah, we formed a resistance, and what I'll be looking forward to is a break above this note. I think we can get. Comment. I think note would probably be the best. Or text. For close above 33.47 for buys. Yeah, I was looking for Sell's idea, but at this time you can't tell because it's creating a lower leg. So if we can possibly, while creating this lower leg, if we can possibly get a candle to form support, and then the next candle could possibly, with volume, could test these highs again. So maybe something like this. So as we're breaking above this previous high, that will be your trade, and you could possibly, yeah, there's about 31 pip range. So if we close above, we also have about 30 pip range. since the daily was closed bearish, I also do want to take a look at sells opportunities. And sells as of right now, there is no opportunities that I can see. But if we form structure, and let's say if we form structure right here, and we are breaking below that structure, let's say next candle opens up, it wicks, and it starts to break its own low. At that time you will execute sells. So basically it forms some sort of support, and it starts to break its own structure, it starts to break its own support. At that time you'll be executing, you'll be looking for sells, because then you'll know, okay, you know what, we formed support, we shouldn't break below this. If we are breaking below that support, that means that we have potential to continue to go down. Right now we just wait. GJ daily. So daily we went up, we created a wick. This seemed to be a heavy resistance. Let's do some fresh analysis. So from daily, what we can see is that we tried to go above 200, but we were not able to close above. That means that there is resistance there. There's sellers there. Um, and now today we've broken below the previous support. Anytime we break below the previous support and we're trying to push back up again and break above this high, that means that this was a fake out. Because if we have broken below the previous support, if we've broken below the previous daily candle, it should continue to push down. But if it doesn't continue to push down, that means it's a fake out. So let's take a look at 4 hour. Yeah, 4 hour, there's heavy support down here. There, let's see. Yeah, let's draw this resistance here. Yeah, there's not much going on. It's just consolidating. Yeah, so there has to be a break above this area for price to continue to push for about 20 pips here. So we're waiting for buys above 199, 840, 850, 199, 850. Yep. And sells, if we can close below here. Waiting for sales below 199, 560, I'd say. 550. That makes this range 30 pips. So it's about 30 pips range. we're waiting for gold to form some sort of support. Okay, so I'm gonna give an example of what a fake out looks like, right? So let's say if these candles, all right. So I'm gonna go ahead and give an example of what a fake out looks like. Let's see. Let me write down the time as well first. All right, everyone. I'm gonna go ahead and give an example of what a fake out looks like and how you can identify it in your trading. So when we look at this candle, this was breaking above this previous area, and the next candle, it closed below back in this range. So we had this range, and now the next candle, as long as it's breaking below the previous candle's wick, that means that it should continue down and push the test these lows again. Yeah, this is the end of the range. Okay, so once again, I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys how to look out for fake outs and identify it in your trading. Once we have identified this range, we tried to go up, didn't break the resistance, and next candle, it broke above the resistance, breaking out of this area. The following candle was a red candle, and it closed back in this range that we had identified. And the current candle, as long as it's breaking below the previous low, it should continue down to fill this wick. And that would be a fake out towards upside. And now it's going to continue down and fill this wick. That would be identifying a fake out. So if we can form some sort of support, and once we break below that support, I would take sells to continue to push down, because right now there is a chance that we can create a wick and then continue to push down. So I don't want to take a trade right now. Let's see. DJ, we're breaking. Well, we're trying to break upside. Yeah. Yeah, if we're breaking towards up, then this little support, this little area, it shouldn't be a hurdle once there's volume in the market. Once there's volume in the market, let's say if we're breaking the structure in New York session, and with volume, we should continue to test these highs again. We shouldn't have to worry about this small area because there's much volume in the market. Gold, we're continue to yeah, we're just breaking down. There's a small support down here, and I want to see how it reacts. Where's Bitcoin? Bitcoin, we are pushing down. Next support area is about 114, 112. Ethereum, we're at support 4200. Nasdaq trading at the highest of the highs. Dang, holy cow. Nasdaq went up 50% in the last 3-4 months. What happened here? Why? Quarter. Yeah, this this is like the COVID rally. This is exactly like the COVID rally. Wow. I'm trying to remember what happened here. This is insane. I'm starting to think that I should I should have taken this trade when it was breaking below the low, marking the stop loss as the current candle's high, and we would have been in like 10, 15 pips in profit. Because the idea is that see, let's say if these three candles were not present, if you couldn't see these three candles, we would be looking at this range. There's support, there's resistance. What we're looking to do is wait until the price gives us identification. Uh, identification. That's crazy. If the price, identifies to go either up or go down, at that time, what we'll do is we'll wait for closure above. So let's say next candlestick should have wicked up and filled these highs, but it didn't break its previous structure. It's closed back in the range. And once a candlestick closes back in the range after breaking out, and the next candle continues to move in that direction, that means that it was a fake out and there's a higher probability for it to continue to test its lows of range. So with that in mind, I think when we were breaking this low, the stop loss would have been the high of this candle at 10 pips, and then the target would have been these wicks down here, about 20. I think, yeah, about 20 pips. I should have been okay. We're we went down about 25 pips. So you live and learn. Next time I will take that trade. Gold, GJ, we're trying to break above. So, oh, let's see. Yeah, you know what? With volume, we've already broken above these highs. So with volume, if we can possibly wick down, and then once we're trying to break the current candle's high, I might execute buys there. Yeah, that I think that would be good. That would be a good idea. We also have 44 minutes up until 45 4-hour close. 7 pip stop. Yeah, we're breaking down over here. If it if we can get a lower wick, mm, there's a chance it can continue to move up because it's sort of in a uptrend. Like if we see this, right? Mm, it can go up and then it will retrace back because 4 hours is going to close within 45 minutes. So even if this candlestick goes up, there's a probability of the next couple candles to come down and create range for the next 4-hour candle. Let's see if we can close above these areas and how the price reacts so we can execute our trade. But I think we can get we can get a good trade today. Mm, 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 mm. Yeah, we're at the smaller support area, so the price is reacting. Wow, we're really trying to break above these areas. So from last 12 hours, we've been stuck in this range. Let's test the stream. See how we're doing. Wow, the delay is very minimal. This is nice. So I think I'm gonna keep these settings. I also have one of my guys, where I'm looking forward to, getting these, short clips edited. So if he agrees with the pixels, if he agrees with the settings of how it's being displayed, then I'm gonna keep these settings. I really wanted to sleep today. I wanted to sleep in, but whenever I wake up in the morning and I go back to sleep immediately, it resets my cycle. So I had to push myself. I had to tell myself that I have to be disciplined. I have to do the live stream. I have to create content, and that's what I'm doing. Actually, you know what? I saw a video the other day where you can create an account from TradingView. So, paper trading, connect. Interesting. Wait, so what are the lot sizes and stuff? 1 unit. I think that would be one lot. Margin USD. 1 unit. 1.5. The specified quantity must be a multiple of the instrument. It is what? 2? Alright, let's just keep it 1. Buy 1 XAU USD. Okay. Take profit. Stop loss. That's nice. Yeah, I think this is probably a lot size. So in this scenario, one lot is good enough. And you have market, market limit and stops. So that's okay. That's good. This is not bad. Rev, this is not bad. Oh, so it gives you $100,000. Interesting. We're gonna try that today. We're gonna try to take a trade on TradingView. So far right now, I think it's safe for us to bring this support up here and wait for this candle to close. Paper trading, replay trade, strategy tester, trade. Okay. This is nice. What's GJ is doing? Yeah. You see, enter the trade right there with no wick creating at the bottom, then at this time we would be sitting in drawdown, currently almost right at our stop loss. So that's why you wait for the candlesticks to close above certain areas, and that's where you know, okay, now it's indicating for the price to continue to push in that direction. So you wouldn't have to be stuck in this trade here. Okay, I'm gonna explain the trading idea, and I'm gonna explain why we. I'm gonna explain why you should wait for candlesticks to close, and then execute a trade. Because right now we were breaking above this current area, and the next candlestick we were anticipating for it to push up and possibly, test these. What's it called? All right, let's see. So I'm going to explain why you should wait for candlesticks to close and be in a certain area for you to execute trades. Because right now we were anticipating for this current candle, to break above the previous candle's high and continue to push up. But if you would have taken a trade right at the entry, you would have gotten maybe 1 or 2 pips, but then you would be right there next to, closing your trade. It would have hit your stop loss. Um, so that's why it's important for you to wait for candlesticks to close above or below certain areas for you to take a trade. Okay, I'm going to explain to you how you can save money by waiting for candlesticks to close. So our idea was that we were anticipating for the next candle, the current candle, to break above the previous highs and continue to push up. If you would have taken the trade right here at the entry of this candle, at this time, you would have hit your stop loss and you would be out of your trade with losing dollars. But if you just wait for candlesticks to print in your direction, and at that time you take the trade, that would have a higher probability for it to be profitable than what we see right now. Okay, gold. Yeah, we are rejecting this area, and maybe this is something that we can execute on. You get me? Or if we break below, yeah, breaking below doesn't have that much potential. Hourly, what I'm gonna do is I will execute a trade if we can if we can come down and create a lower wick. We respect this previous low, and as we're continuing to push up, that's what I'm gonna take as a trade. So it will look something like this. basically this will be used as support. The next candle, it would have to wick down, create a low, but it would respect the previous low. That means that this is actual support that the price is respecting. And as it is breaking above the current candle, that will be your trade with stop loss break below the previous low and continuing to push up. And at that time, you can actually look forward for the next couple of candles to continue and test these highs. It all depends on how this candlestick closes. What do we have on GJ? Yeah, you see, the candlestick is bare. Yeah, this is breaking below, so we're just in this range trading. I still think we can push up. It just yeah, it needs to break above this area first. Okay, so we're creating a lower wick first. So we've placed an order. Once the candlestick flips, at that point, I would be looking forward to enter a trade. And we're using TradingView for the first time, so this will be a live review on how the execution is, what the latency is, and if there's any delays in the price. .30 minute, yeah, 30 minute. We have support here, so it's 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 a good chance that we can come come up, and yeah, we have support here. So I'm actually gonna see if we can get a better entry. Oh, we have broken below the previous support. I think it invalidates. Yeah, we have broken below the previous support. See, that's why you don't execute trade. You have to wait for candlesticks to print the way you would want it to be, And if I would have chased this buy, if I would have just, because there's support formed and I'm gonna execute a buy, I would be straight down, losing money. I would be down 20 pips. Yeah, because this is your stop loss would have been the previous candle's low, and this candle has hit the stop loss in that scenario. That's why it's very important you wait for candlesticks to close and then execute a trade based on what the next how you would want the next candlestick to behave. Do you want it to wick down and then continue to wick up, or do you think that we can take the trade right off the bat? That's something that you gain with experience. Today we're just giving out examples of why you should wait for candlestick to close and wait for the trading setup to come to you. Jeez. Jeez. I'm gonna close this buy stop. It's just so it won't get triggered. So if this candlestick, let's say if this candlestick closes bearish below the structure, do we have enough range? Do we have enough of a range? This is 10 pip range. I don't think we have enough of a range for us to take a sell. Oh, we have turned bearish here. Yeah. So what happens? Why did I have this reaction that we've turned bearish here? Is because we have been trying to break above for the last 12 hours and we have gotten breaks, but we were never able to close above these ranges. And if we close below as a bearish candle, then there is a higher probability the next candle could wick up and then continue to push down and test these lows here. Just the way I anticipated yesterday, we talked about that the candlestick has closed back in the range, and the next candle has broken below the previous low. That means that there is a higher probability that we can just come down and test these ranges again. And that is exactly what happened. And that is the sell we took yesterday as well. The idea that we analyzed for sells, that was the same thing on the 15-minute candle. And here, if we close bearish, then that means that if the next candle can break below this low, then it can continue to push down and test these ranges. I'm trying to. Somebody comes in, looks at this live stream. I'm trying to see how I can articulate my ideas, my thoughts into visuals for someone to understand and follow along as I'm explaining them. Forecast. What is that? TJ, we're just trading in the range. If we wick up, continue to break below, we have 15 to 20 pip range. But we also have 4-hour close time. Yeah, we're closing in 15 minutes, 18 minutes. Hourly, wow. See, this should be before and after. Remember, we were talking about this idea where let's just assume these three candles did not exist. We have a support, we have a resistance. We're trying to break up the resistance with this candle. The next candle, it breaks above the resistance. So our trade would be either if we take the trade here, or next trade would be is that the next candle should continue to break above the highs, right? The next candle, it closes back in this range. Once the candle closes back in the range after a breakout, the next candle, if it keeps pushing in that direction and breaks below the previous low, that means that it's going to more likely fill the entire range. And that is exactly what happened. So I think this will be a good before and after. Fake out 51. See, this is what we were talking about earlier in the stream. Yeah, perfect. It has come down to fill the ranges. See, this is what we were talking about earlier in the stream on how to identify fake outs. And once a fake out is identified, how you can execute a trade. And this is exactly what's happening. We have filled this whole entire range. I wanna if you know. So that was what, 48, 50 pips. See, this is the fun in candlesticks. You were able to identify, dissect each candlestick, each scenario that, hey, we formed support, we formed resistance, we were trying to break above, we did break above. And the next candle, wait, it closed back in the range? Why did it close back in the range? Could that be a fake out? Okay, let's see if that's a fake out. If the next candlestick continues to break below, that means that it's going to test these lows of the ranges again. And that is exactly what happened. So once you see those things with experience long enough, the next time you will execute a trade. You'll say, okay, I've seen this multiple times. There is a higher probability for this candlestick to continue and test these ranges. So I'm going to execute a buy or a sell accordingly because I've seen it happen so many times. So with experience, this trade would have been a success. But W analogy, W analysis. This was great. W analysis. Such a youngin thing. W. W's in the chat. Okay, let's go. What do we have? We'll have last 15 minute of the 4 hour, and I'm just gonna let it do it. I'm not gonna. There's no trade ideas here as of right now. This is the last 15 minute of 4 hour. We're gonna see how we close. So far, we're bearish. GJ 4 hours. Yeah, we got a flip on GJ as well. Weekly. I mean, weekly. I still think that if we don't flip bearish on weekly and continue to break its own low, then we have an upside potential here. And we have upside potential of all the way up to these areas of, what is it? 207. Yeah. 207. 207. Okay, I will be right back because 4 hour is closing. We have about 10 minutes. I'll be right back. Okay. What what are we working with? I think we have a retracement. GJ, GJ, we also have a retracement. Retracement. I'm looking at GJ, right? I'm looking at GJ. If we close 4 hour, if we close bullish, that means that we have broken in the 4 hour. What has happened is that we have broken above the previous candle, and we respected the previous low. God damn, this low. I just, I just kept going down. Anyways, if we can close bullish on GJ, then w- what I did is I went down into the lower time frames, and we could possibly have this as support and the next candle to continue to push up. That depends on how GJ closes on 4 hour. So we have about 6-7 minutes for the 4 hour close, and we will wait for that. If we do sells below, yeah, if we do sells, then we can run all the way down to these. Let's see, what do we have here on 15? Yeah, 36 pip range. Thirty-three, 34. Okay. Your boy is ready for work. We're ready for office. Let's see. How we looking? Okay, we have what, 2 minutes? Okay, so 4 hour, we have been trying to push up for last 12 hours and we have been rejecting. Oh, okay. The reason why I zoomed in quick is because I want to see if there's any trading opportunities. If we take a sell here, the stops are gonna be okay. Let's see if this candlestick can create a wick up. How are we on GJ? GJ 4 hour. Oh, we did close up. So I think GJ, we should be able to do a market buy, and our stop loss would be this, and our TP would be this. So this platform also has spread, I think. The stop loss would be current candle's high. And let's see if we can break below these areas. GJ, 15 minute, that's fine. where does it show me amount of pips? So we did the execution right here. Has three to four pip spread is a lot because we did the execution around somewhere between around 334, 300 to 400 right here. And the market took the order at 334.080. It says right here. That means that there's about 3 pip spread. What time is it? This is insane. Where are we? We're in Oanda because we executed this trade around, let's just say 360, and we're right now breaking even 5 pips. So trading view is giving 5 pips. So I'm just gonna close this trade almost here. How many pips do we have? Yeah, about 17 pips. So I'm gonna close this right here. Close position. GJ. All right. I think I'm gonna head out. I just wanted to test out this platform. GG, I think it should play out as well. It just needs a little bit more time, but history. Wow. Yeah, we're just continue to break down on gold. So current positions, GJ. I'm gonna look for a different paper trading account here because this has over 5 pips of spread, which is insane. Actually, I'm gonna go to C Trader and show you guys how the spreads should be. All right, that's it for the day. I will see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for joining in. Thank you.